The night had fallen, but the road seemed endless, just like the shifts. I'd been driving for hours, the hum of my rig the only sound keeping me company. It was the usual, driving through small towns that disappeared as quickly as they appeared. No one on the road. No one around. Just the asphalt stretching out beneath me, a black ribbon leading into the unknown. I checked the clock, 2:47 a.m. The eerie quiet of the highway seemed to stretch time. The kind of quiet that presses in on you, makes you question if your thoughts are your own, or if something's out there, watching. I've seen my fair share of strange things on the road. But nothing like this. I caught sight of something ahead, a flicker of movement off the shoulder. For a split second, I thought I saw someone standing by the guardrail, their body hunched, head tilted as if listening to the truck's rumble. But as I got closer, the figure was gone. Just my mind playing tricks, I thought. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The glow of my headlights painted the road in patches of yellow light. I sped up, trying to shake the unease creeping up my spine. That's when it happened. The headlights ahead didn't belong to a car. It was a figure, standing in the middle of the road. Just standing there, not moving. Like they were waiting for me. I slammed my foot on the brake, the tires screeching against the asphalt, and jerked the wheel to the side, narrowly avoiding hitting whatever it was. The truck swerved but stayed upright. My heart raced as I pulled over to the side, my hands shaking. I stared out at the spot where the figure had been standing. But it was gone. Vanished. I thought maybe it was some kind of prank, someone trying to scare a driver. But the stillness of the night made it feel all too real. I couldn't just sit there, though. I had miles to cover, and there was no time to dwell on something that could be a figment of my imagination. Still, the hair on my neck stood up. Something wasn't right. And then I heard it. A knock. It came from the side of the truck. Soft, at first. I froze. The sound was unmistakable. Someone, or something, was out there. Stay tuned for the next part. I held my breath. The knock was faint but distinct. Someone had to be outside. I couldn't remember stopping or seeing another vehicle pull up beside me. My truck was parked in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by miles of empty highway. I hesitated, my mind racing. Should I open the door? No. There was no reason for anyone to be out there, especially at this hour. I'd seen my fair share of weird stuff, but this felt different. It felt wrong. The knock came again, louder this time. I glanced in the side mirror, expecting to see someone standing there, but nothing. The night was still. Not a soul in sight. My gut told me not to open that door, but curiosity got the better of me. I slowly slid my hand toward the door handle, my fingers trembling. Another knock echoed, sharper than before. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice barely above a whisper. My breath fogged up the glass, adding to the creeping sense of dread. No answer. Just silence. I was about to turn the key and start the engine when I heard something strange. A low, guttural sound. It wasn't quite a growl, but it wasn't human either. It came from the direction of the door, just inches away from where I sat. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. My pulse raced. I looked down at the door handle, and that's when I saw it. A smear of dark red on the glass. Not just one smear, several. The blood was fresh, still glistening in the dim light of the interior. I felt my stomach churn. I snapped back from the window, my hand hovering over the keys, ready to turn the engine over and get out of there. But then, as if on cue, the growl turned into a low whisper. "Help me. Please. It's too late." The word sent a shockwave through me. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think straight. I knew I had to leave. But something about that voice, the desperation, it gnawed at my soul. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was meant to help. But something in my gut told me that if I got out of that truck, I'd never make it back inside. My head spun, but the whisper came again, louder this time. Please, I had no choice. I had to see what was out there. I gripped the door handle, my knuckles white from the tension. The voice, it was unmistakable, but the more I listened, the more it sounded wrong. It was too distorted, like something trying to mimic a human, but failing miserably. I had to know what was out there, and as much as I dreaded it, I knew I couldn't leave without checking. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open just a crack, peering into the darkness outside. My eyes darted back and forth, scanning the empty highway, the edge of the road. Nothing. Just the black expanse of the night, stretching in every direction. But then I saw it. A figure, crouched low to the ground, barely visible in the shadow of the truck. It was hunched over, limbs twisted at unnatural angles. Its face, if it even had one, was obscured by a mass of tangled hair that hung down like a curtain. The whispering came from it, but it didn't move, didn't stand up. I froze, the blood in my veins turning cold. My instincts screamed at me to shut the door and floor the gas pedal, but I couldn't move. I felt like I was paralyzed, like some unseen force was holding me in place. Then it shifted. The figure straightened slightly, revealing a glint of something metallic in the moonlight. I could barely make it out, but it looked like a blade, sharp, reflecting the pale light. My heart stopped as it slowly raised the weapon in its hand, pointing it toward me. I slammed the door shut, the metal clanging harshly against the frame. My breath came in ragged gasps, my mind racing as I tried to comprehend what I'd just seen. What the hell was that thing? I didn't waste another second. My hands fumbled with the keys, trying to start the truck, but my fingers were slick with sweat. The engine roared to life just as the door rattled again. There was no time to waste. I slammed the truck into gear, spinning the wheels on the gravel as I pulled away from the shoulder, my foot heavy on the gas. I didn't look back. I couldn't. The road stretched out ahead, but I didn't feel the relief I expected. That thing, whatever it was still out there. Watching. Waiting. The darkness seemed to press in on me from all sides. And then, just as I thought I might be out of reach, I saw something up ahead, a flicker of light, too bright to be a car's headlights, but too close to ignore. Something was following me. My hands tightened on the wheel, knuckles white as I pushed the truck faster. I couldn't look behind me, couldn't afford to take my eyes off the road. But that light, it was growing closer. It wasn't a car, I was sure of it now. It wasn't the reflection of my own headlights, either. This was something else. Something that was moving with me, and faster than I could handle. The low hum of the engine, usually a calming sound on long drives, now felt like a death rattle in the silence of the night. The wind howled through the vents, and I could hear the tires crunching against the gravel, but above it all, there was the sound of something following. That light wasn't just an object. It was alive, flickering like a broken street lamp but pulsing, as though it had a rhythm of its own, like it was breathing. I sped up, trying to outrun it. The road stretched endlessly before me, but the thing behind me was relentless. Each second felt like an eternity. My heart pounded so loud it drowned out everything else. Sweat stung my eyes, but I didn't dare wipe it away. I had to stay focused. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Nothing. The light was gone. I tried to tell myself that I was overreacting, that it was just a car, just some headlights from another truck I hadn't seen. But the gnawing feeling in my gut told me otherwise. I couldn't shake the fear that had settled deep within me. There was something out there, something I couldn't see. Something that didn't belong. Then, a thump. It wasn't loud at first. A soft thud against the back of the truck. But then it came again, and this time, it was accompanied by a horrible screeching sound. Like metal scraping against metal. I looked in the side mirror, my breath hitching. A dark shape, something tall and elongated, was hanging onto the side of my truck. It wasn't human, its limbs were too long, twisted in unnatural ways. It had its hands wrapped around the edge of the trailer, holding on as if it were a part of the night itself. My stomach churned, and a sickening realization hit me. It was the thing from before. The one I'd tried to leave behind. I slammed the brakes, the truck jerking violently as I tried to shake it off. The tires screeched, and the trailer fishtailed as I fought to regain control. But it was no use. The creature held tight, as though it was anchored to the side of the truck. With a final, desperate attempt, I threw the rig into a sharp turn. The truck screeched as it slid off the road, bouncing over the uneven terrain, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. And just like that, the creature was gone. The truck stopped, the engine idling in the eerie quiet, and the world outside seemed to freeze. I sat there, gasping for breath, unable to move. My mind raced, trying to comprehend what had just happened. Was it a dream? A hallucination? Or was there something more, something far worse, waiting for me out there in the dark? I couldn't answer that. Not yet. But one thing was clear, whatever it wasn't going to stop. And neither was I. The truck idled in the middle of nowhere, the engine's hum now the only sound breaking the eerie silence. My hand still gripped the wheel, knuckles aching from how hard I was holding on. I hadn't dared to move a muscle, my eyes darting back and forth, scanning the dark expanse around me, waiting for something to happen. I wanted to scream, to throw the door open and run, but I knew better. Running never works. Whatever it was out there, whatever that thing was, it would follow. It wouldn't stop. The minutes stretched on, feeling like hours. Still, there was nothing but the sound of the truck's engine and the distant rustle of the wind. I kept my eyes glued to the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the creature emerging from the shadows. But there was nothing, just the empty highway, dark and silent. I reached for the radio, desperate for any sound to break the tension. I flipped the dial. Static. More static. No signal. That's when I heard it again. The whisper. A soft, broken voice, just like before. Please, help me. It wasn't coming from inside the truck. It was coming from somewhere, closer. I froze, every muscle in my body locking up. That voice. It wasn't just a sound anymore. It was a presence. The air around me felt colder, heavier. I glanced toward the passenger seat, half expecting to see someone sitting there. But there was no one. Only the empty seat, staring back at me in the dim light. Then the voice came again, closer this time. Almost right next to my ear. Please, you have to, listen. I turned my head slowly, my heart in my throat. There, just outside the truck window, was a face. A face with hollow eyes, lips drawn tight in a sickening smile. Its skin was gray, stretched taut over its skull. It was almost completely still, its eyes locked onto mine. I slammed the truck into gear without thinking, jerking the wheel to send the rig into motion. My foot slammed down on the gas pedal, and the truck shot forward, the tires tearing up the gravel as I sped down the empty road. But the face didn't disappear. It stayed there, hovering just outside the window, its lips moving slowly, silently. The whispering voice continued, muffled by the glass, but somehow, I could still hear it in my head. You can't outrun it. You can't escape. The truck roared down the road, the engine straining against the weight of fear, but the figure didn't leave. It kept pace with me, moving along the side of the truck like it was part of the night itself. I looked again in the side mirror, hoping it would be gone. But it wasn't. The creature was there, right behind me now, crawling up the side of the rig with impossible speed. Its limbs, distorted and twisted, wrapped around the truck's side like it had done before. I could feel the pressure building in my chest. I was losing my mind. But I couldn't stop. Not now. I pressed harder on the gas, desperately trying to outpace whatever was chasing me. But the faster I went, the more the creature seemed to close in. Suddenly, I hit a bump in the road, sending the truck airborne for a moment. The world spun as the tires slammed back down, and that's when I heard a sickening crack, the sound of something hard breaking. I looked up in time to see the creature's arm extending, its fingers reaching for the door handle. I had no choice. I threw the truck into a sharp turn, sending the vehicle skidding across the gravel. The world around me became a blur of dark trees, flashing lights, and the relentless screeching of the tires. The creature's scream, a horrid, inhuman wail, filled the air as I lost control. Everything went dark. I don't remember how long I was out. When I finally came to, I was in the truck, still behind the wheel, but everything around me was quiet. Too quiet. The headlights shone into the dense, black forest beside the road. I had crashed into the trees, the truck tilted at an awkward angle, wedged between two large trunks. The windshield was cracked, but still intact. My head throbbed, a sharp pain running through my skull. My fingers were numb from gripping the wheel too tightly, but I forced myself to move, reaching for the door handle. The truck groaned, creaking under the pressure of its twisted position. The air felt thick, almost suffocating, and I could taste something metallic on my tongue. Blood. My blood. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but the fear was still there, gnawing at me like a hungry beast. I needed to get out of this truck. I needed to get away. The door refused to open. It was jammed from the crash, and panic began to surge through me. I yanked at the handle again and again, but nothing. And then, through the fog of my racing thoughts, I heard it. A whisper. Soft. Almost imperceptible. It was coming from the back of the truck. I froze, straining my ears to listen. The voice was faint, but unmistakable. A broken, pained whisper. Help me, I couldn't move. I just sat there, staring straight ahead, heart pounding in my chest. My breath came in short gasps, fogging up the windshield. That voice. It had to be real. It had to be. But then, as if on cue, something tapped softly on the back of the truck. The same sound. The same knock. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. The voice came again, closer this time. Please, I didn't know what to do. My instincts told me to stay put, to keep my head down, but curiosity pushed me forward. Against everything in my body screaming at me to stay safe, I crawled toward the window, glancing back over my shoulder. There, standing in the woods just beyond the truck, was a figure. It was a man, or what used to be a man. His face was obscured by a mass of dark hair, matted and tangled. His clothes were torn, and his body was bent at odd angles, like he had been dragged, twisted, and reshaped. His limbs were too long, too thin. He was staring at me. And then, slowly, he raised his hand. Please, he whispered again, his voice low and raspy. Help me, I could barely breathe. My throat felt tight, like something was choking me from the inside. The figure stepped closer, his eyes vacant, lifeless, like they didn't belong to a living soul. I slammed my foot against the gas, desperate to get away, but the truck wouldn't move. It was stuck in the trees, pinned in place. The figure reached for me, one long, twisted hand outstretched. I couldn't think. I couldn't react fast enough. And then, the voice, no longer a whisper, spoke louder, clearer than ever before. You can't leave. The figure stepped forward, and everything around me went dark. I don't know how long I was unconscious, but when I woke again, it was pitch black outside the truck, and a biting cold had settled in, more intense than the chill of the night. My breath fogged up the cracked windshield as I exhaled sharply, trying to make sense of what had happened. I was alone in the truck. The woods surrounding me felt heavier now, as if the darkness had thickened, wrapping around everything like a suffocating blanket. I couldn't hear the usual sounds of the night, no chirping insects, no rustling leaves. The silence was unnatural, oppressive. I sat up slowly, my head pounding as I tried to collect my thoughts. The crash. The creature. The whispering figure in the woods. It all felt like a nightmare, but the cold, the pain in my body, the fear, they were real. I couldn't stay here. I needed to get out of the truck, figure out where I was, and make sure whatever was following me hadn't caught up yet. I forced myself to move, my body stiff and aching, every part of me begging to stay still. The truck door finally gave way when I slammed it with my shoulder, the metal screeching in protest as it opened. I stumbled out into the darkness, my boots crunching in the dry leaves beneath me. The air was cold, colder than anything I'd ever felt. It cut through my jacket like a blade. I pulled the collar up and looked around, trying to get my bearings. The trees loomed all around, blocking out any trace of light. The road was nowhere to be seen, swallowed up by the dense forest. But then I saw it. A flicker of light, soft and faint, moving through the trees, just ahead. The same strange, pulsating glow I'd seen earlier. It didn't move like a car's headlights, didn't even flicker like a lantern. It hovered, like it was breathing. And it was getting closer. Panic gripped me as I took a step back, my heart racing. I needed to find a way out of this forest, away from whatever that thing was. But the light kept drawing me in. It was like it was calling to me, pulling me toward it. I turned to run, my legs trembling beneath me, but I couldn't ignore it. The light had already started to draw closer, faster now, as if it was coming for me. Then, a sound, a low growl, rumbled from the trees. I froze, terror flooding my veins. The voice that had whispered to me earlier echoed in my head again, louder this time. You can't leave. It wasn't just a warning anymore. It was a command. I whipped my head around, trying to find the source of the growl, but the darkness was overwhelming. The trees closed in on me, the air thick with dread. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. And then the light was upon me. But it wasn't a light at all. It was a creature, its body composed entirely of shifting shadows and broken light, a distortion of the night itself. It towered over me, its form constantly changing, flickering like it was made of smoke and fire at the same time. I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. The creature's twisted face loomed closer, its mouth opening, revealing rows of sharp, jagged teeth. Its voice, deep and guttural, rumbled through the air. You never left. You can never leave. And then, everything went black. I don't know how long I was unconscious again, but when I came to, I was back in the truck. I snapped upright, gasping for air, my body drenched in sweat, but my heart still pounding in that same cold, suffocating fear. I wasn't in the woods anymore. The truck was on the road, moving, slowly, but moving. I rubbed my eyes, trying to clear the fog in my brain, but when I looked around, nothing made sense. The dashboard was lit up, but I couldn't recall starting the engine, couldn't remember getting back into the driver's seat. My hands trembled as I gripped the wheel. I glanced out the windshield. The road ahead was endless, stretching into the dark. The trees, the forest, I couldn't see any of it anymore. And yet, I knew something had changed. The air inside the cab was thick. It wasn't just cold, it was wrong. Like something was pressing in on me, weighing me down. I could feel it in my chest, my gut tightening with every breath. I didn't feel alone. Something was in here with me. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it, a presence lurking just out of sight. And then, I heard it. A knock. It came from the back of the truck again, soft at first, just like before. My heart skipped a beat. The knock came again, louder this time, as if the creature was trying to get my attention. I wanted to ignore it. I wanted to drive away, to keep moving until I reached the nearest town, until I found some safety, some normalcy. But I couldn't. The fear that gripped me was stronger than any instinct to flee. I slowed the truck, my hands sweaty on the wheel, and slowly, I pulled over to the side of the road. The engine sputtered, and the truck groaned in protest, but it came to a stop. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that whatever was out there was getting closer. I had to check. I had to know. I grabbed the flashlight I kept in the truck and stepped out onto the road. My boots sank into the gravel as I made my way to the back, every step feeling like it was taking me further into some nightmare I couldn't escape. The knock came again, this time with more urgency. I shone the light across the back of the truck, but I couldn't see anything, nothing but the dark void of the night surrounding me. The door of the truck creaked as I reached for the handle, my fingers cold against the metal. I hesitated for a moment, my breath caught in my throat. But then the whisper came again, soft and desperate. "Please, help me." I opened the door, the heavy metal protesting against the weight of whatever was waiting on the other side. My flashlight cut through the darkness, and for a second, I thought I saw something move. A figure. It was standing there, hunched over, barely visible in the dim light. And then, the growl. That deep, guttural sound that had haunted me since this nightmare began. I took a step back, but the figure was too close now. Its face was twisted, its features contorted beyond recognition, like it was being dragged through the dark, forced into some shape it couldn't hold. The eyes were hollow, empty sockets staring into my soul. And it smiled. A wicked, unnatural smile. "Too late," it whispered. I turned and ran. I ran without thinking, my body fueled by pure panic. My heart thundered in my chest as I sprinted back to the truck, but the sound of footsteps, heavy, dragging, slow, followed me. No matter how fast I ran, I couldn't outrun it. The growl, the whispers, everything was closing in on me. I jumped into the truck, slammed the door shut, and locked it, but I could still hear it. It was inside. I couldn't breathe. The air inside the truck was thick with dread. I could hear the scraping, the dragging, the soft whispering. It was in here with me. I had locked the door, but I knew that wouldn't stop it. Nothing would. My hands were slick with sweat as I fumbled for the keys, the truck's engine already running. I slammed the gear into drive and hit the gas, feeling the truck lurch forward. My vision was blurred, my heart pounding in my ears. The road ahead was nothing but a blur of shadows. But in the rearview mirror, there it was. The figure, still following me. Its twisted limbs dragged along the ground, its smile stretching wider with every passing second. The lights of the truck barely illuminated it, but I could still see the shape, flickering like it wasn't fully part of this world. I sped down the highway, the truck growling beneath me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was closing in. The whispers were growing louder now, the voice in my head stronger than before. "You can't leave." The road seemed endless. It stretched on for miles, but it didn't lead anywhere. Not really. There was no escape. No safety. I was trapped. The truck roared forward, but it felt like I was going in circles. The figure was still there. Always just behind me. No matter how fast I went, no matter how much I tried to outrun it, it kept pace. I thought about stopping, about confronting it, but I knew deep down that wouldn't work. It had been waiting for me. This thing, this creature, had been waiting for me to finally make a mistake. And I had. The truck swerved suddenly as if something unseen had grabbed hold of it, dragging it off course. The road was now a dark blur of twisting turns and sharp curves. The figure had moved closer again, its form stretching impossibly long, its eyes locked on me through the side mirror. I looked ahead, trying to keep my eyes on the road, but the fear had taken hold. I wasn't in control anymore. The road was consuming me, and the whispers were too much. I couldn't fight it. I wasn't strong enough. The truck hit another bump, and everything went still. For one brief moment, the truck flew through the air, as if caught in some cosmic pull, before crashing back down to the road with an ear-splitting jolt. I didn't know what happened next. I didn't know if I lost consciousness or if I was still awake, trapped in some kind of hell. But when I opened my eyes again, I was sitting there, in the truck, as if nothing had changed. I looked around. The road. The truck. The sky. The figure was gone. I didn't know if I was alive anymore, but as I sat there, in the quiet, I realized something else. The whispers had stopped. I could finally breathe. But when I glanced down at the dashboard, I saw it. The number on the clock read 2:47 a.m. again. The same time I had started. And the road, it was still endless. I wasn't free. The road never ends. And the thing that chased me? It wasn't gone. It was just waiting. Waiting for the next driver.